Let's do a tornado painted with acrylic paints on a 10 by 8 canvas panel. So the colors you'll need are a white, a black, a brown, an off creamish yellow. You can just mix a bright yellow with a little bit of white if you want, and then a cobalt blue, which is a dark blue with a little bit of white also. The brushes you'll need are a 1-inch wash brush, a blender brush, a 1/2-inch wash, a 1/2-inch wash with snip bristles to spray on a little bit of texture and color, a filbert, a scrub brush, a couple round brushes, I think a 4 and a 2, and then a number 1 with a point for some fine detailing. Okay, so the first thing I did was mix up a dark gray and a light gray, and then I mixed a little bit of blue into both of those. So I have a gradient of gray from light to dark gray and almost black with blue mixed in. So it's a gray blue and it looks more natural. And then using that on the canvas from top to bottom, I went from dark to light using that blue gray I mixed up. So that's all I'm doing here with the 1/2-inch wash brush. I'm just making a nice smooth dark to light using that bluish gray. And once we have that blended out, then we'll have our basic background for the clouds. Next, I got some of that dark gray and went ahead and built out and sculpted out the tornado itself. So you can use a 1/2-inch or a filbert, whatever you want to do here. I'm going to add a little bit of darkness here to the left. That's just pretty much a dark black, surrounding it with blue gray. We'll blend that out later. We're just mapping out and getting the basic shapes and colors in. So this is some of that cream yellow mixed with brown and white. And I'm just going to blend this into the edges subtly of the tornado. And as we start to define that, it'll show dirt being sucked up from the ground and being backlit a little bit. So it'll give a nice effect. And then, blend in some color and some blacks and browns down near the bottom just to give you the little dust cloud. And then from here, we'll just start to add layers, work it a little bit using mostly the filbert or number 2 round. And that'll help us start to bring it to life as we add more layers. So there at the bottom, I just added a textured landscape. That was just a black and a little bit of brown. And here I'm just redefining some of that dirt being sucked up. So I'm working it into the cloud and I'm working it into the edges. And that will remain throughout the painting. We'll continue to add to that and keep that. This gives a nice border to the tornado. It defines the actual tube of the tornado itself, as well as giving the movement and power of the tornado as it sucks up all the wind and catches some of the light. So here I'm redefining some white around the dust cloud as well as up against that landscape bottom. And that'll just give some contrast. Here I'm just blending in varying amounts and shades of blues, whites, and that blue-gray, and working on top of that basic concept that we mapped out on our first layer, just cleaning things up, blending things out, adding clouds, redefining the tube, adding more dirt, and so on and so forth. That scrubber brush can really come in handy when you're trying to blend acrylics out and get a soft blend with acrylics. So just as a little trick, those scrub brushes really work well for this type of thing, or for clouds and things like that, or dust in this particular painting, or a combination of both, like here. It's a good brush to have. And here, just adding these horizontal strips of color, different blues and whites and blue grays, and blending them together well, you can get those layers of clouds. And then just keep that tornado's tube defined using the dust color, and just keep adding layers and working it and blending everything out, and it'll start to come together for you. Just adding some darkness down here in the dust cloud that's being sucked up. We'll add some debris in there later and give it a little more detail. But yeah, you want the top of the tornado and those clouds to be dark, and then the bottom base of the tornado to be dark, and then that tube to contain some blue grays, and then the surrounding clouds you want to be lighter so that it contrasts against those lighter colors. So here we'll work a little blue in just to give some variation and some interesting cloud formations, and show the actual suction of the cloud being sucked down into the tube. So the upper left there, the upper left corner, we're going to keep that nice and dark with a real dark blue-gray and quite a bit of black mixed in. Once you get to this point, you're pretty much done. We can add some little dots and lines and even spray some paint down in the debris cloud to add some realism there. But once everything's mapped and blended out like this, it's there. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks again, Stormy Weld, for the idea. This was really fun to do. If you have any trouble when you do it yourself, just ask me in the comments and I'll try to help. Thanks again. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you on the next video.